Hey everybody, welcome to PixelPlay Sidequest, your bonus content here every Friday on YouTube. Adam, aka CS Radical, Jin and Chris with me here, or Chris. It's just a habit that I always just say Jin and Chris and nothing else because why would I say anything else? Your name is right goddamn there.
It's right there, 100%.
But we're gonna start a series of videos that we're gonna kind of get along to. Kayla might pop in for a couple of these. Really depends on how the schedule works. I have another idea I want to do in the similar vein where we're going to kind of work our way up from the history of consoles. But we've been on in the Discord, which again, Linktree/PixelPlay podcast. If you want to join the Discord, the link is there. I think the link's also always in the description too, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't always look at that. It's usually a copy and paste for these things that I've just gotten used to doing, and I just changed the top paragraph that tells what we're doing. But we're going to start doing a series where we're going to take consoles and talk about games that we would like to see remade from them. Because we've been actually talking recently about games that we wanted to see remade and stuff. And I thought, you know what, this is a cool way to kind of give us some stuff to do. So we're going to start with the NES. You could go further back, but let's be honest, who really wants to get a Atari game remade, right? So NES seems like the best starting point. We'll pull out obviously the main consoles. We'll pull out the handhelds as well. So your Game Boys, your Game Boy Advances, all that jazz. But we're going to start with the NES, which I think is going to be the only one in that generation. And then we'll move up to the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era and go from there. So we are going to each pick 3 games. I did pick more than 3 just in case so I don't overlap with Chris all the time. Because Lord knows that we're just going to say the same 3 things all at once here. So this doesn't have to be any specific kind of remake, whether it's a full-on 3D, whether it's 2.5D, kind of like what the Dragon Quest 3 remake is. If that's what you want to go with, just state what you want to deal with, and we will go from there. But just really, any game that you think from the NES era that you want to see remade. Not remastered, not just re-released, because obviously that's been done to Kingdom Come for a lot of these games that we'll probably thought about talking about or will talk about. But I'm going to kick us off here with one game that I think is a little bit of a surprise to some, but I'm going to put in Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link because I want to know how that game would play. And I would want to stick with the 2D side-scrolling thing because I think it's actually a cool idea. I just want to see what it's done with more polish. Because I think conceptually, the idea of a Zelda game that is more of a 2D fighter is actually curious to me. It just wasn't done particularly well with that one. So I like to see that be redone and done properly with a bit more of that Nintendo current day flair that we see now.
That's a really good pick because with the Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom engine, there's parts where you go down a ladder in a dungeon and it goes from 3D to 2D, just like it did on the original Game Boy. So as Link, you're literally going up and down ladders, 2D platformer, sword and powers and all that kind of stuff. So I can see it. I mean, if it was in the same art style, but you could do a different art style too. I can actually see that being a lot of fun. That's one of my favorite parts of those games
it's almost
when it goes 2D.
Akin to a Metroid game, but it's Link, right?
Yeah, like Sword and Shield, 2D platformer. That is something that's also not as common as you'd think, which is interesting. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are going to look past that one because they don't want to see that game make a comeback at all. Where I'm more in the camp of, dude, we can't have a bad Zelda game that everyone universally hates. We got to fix that.
They have to fix it.
But enough about Majora's Mask.
When they remake that, they need to ensure they leave in that one NPC that says, "I am error." That must still be there. They cannot remove that.
That 100% will be an Easter egg it's used somewhere. It probably wouldn't be the exact same character, or they would actually have that person have a proper set of dialogue, but their name is Error, but it's spelled ERIR or something, so they can get really cheeky with it.
Yeah. Oh, I am Error. So good. Well,
no, it's not Error. It's rare.
Rare. I am error.
No, it's chowder, not chowder. It's chowder.
I'm just thinking that too. Oh God. Well, mine's actually kind of similar. I tried to stay away from too many Nintendo first party games. But this one, it's such like, again, like the black sheep of the series. Mario 2, Super Mario Brothers 2, where it wasn't even originally a Mario game. It was a completely different game, and they kind of
Yeah,
just
let's just re-release
put the
it as
Mario Kart.
actually Doki Doki Panic. Let's just get the actual game that was intended.
No, I want the Super Mario version, but like I want it to be remade that would give me a reason to go back and want to play it properly, because that's one of the few like I've played, but I didn't really care. I didn't like, oh, I
The
haven't
music was
beaten it. I
awesome. That
really
was
got to
about
think.
it.
The music is really awesome. Yeah, if they kind of did that in a maybe a Mario Wonder kind of art style, like keep it 2D and all that kind of stuff, I think I would want to go back and play it. Especially I could see that being a fun like 4-player Mario, because it's all about like picking up the vegetables and just chucking them. Like maybe you could turn on or off if you can actually hit your like actual teammates and stuff. Like it could be a fun game if they did that. I don't know. I went with Mario 2 because it's the one Mario I've never really cared about, and I kind of want to care, but I'll need a good reason to, you know?
Yeah. The next one I'm gonna pull out for another reason, like Zelda 2 Need a Redemption. I need this game because I've never played it before, and there's no way you're gonna get me playing an NES game today. So I'd like to see a proper re-release of it. Star Tropics.
Ah, yes. Good pick.
Which is
I've
another
never
one of
played that
those
one either.
games that it's like I've heard nothing but good things about from those who played it growing up, but it's just one of those cases where like I can't justify playing a game that's that old anymore.
No, I can, but it's like usually more like
You
Yoshi,
also have a
like
Steam
that
Deck.
puzzle game.
You're a
Yes,
handheld guy.
100%.
I cannot justify play if I played this on my 4K monitor, my soul would hurt.
I played on my Switch Online because Game Boy's on there now. I played through Donkey Kong Land, which is the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong Country, on my 65-inch TV. It was glorious. It doesn't hurt. It's glorious, Adam.
And this motherfucker is complaining about, all these other games in his backlog, and here he is playing Donkey Kong Land on his fucking TV.
Yeah, that happened last year. That's one backlog game I didn't get to because of that.
This is the guy that routinely like shoots himself in the foot and asks why he's bleeding. That's you with your backlog.
But the bullets are like retro games that I am playing on like Switch Online, or 10 games I bought in a summer sale. Those are the bullets.
I mean, you haven't said anything recently. It seems like you got out of your Humble Bundle craze where you just bought like shit tons of games that are just kind of sitting waiting.
I haven't bought a Humble Bundle in a while. In fact, I've only bought one game this year so far. I keep track because I need to make sure that it's kept like, no, I'm beating more than I'm buying. That's the whole point. I can't remember what game I bought. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah.
Well, it's that part. Like, obviously, if you guys listened to the episode a couple of days ago on Wednesday, we were talking about like indie games and how that was becoming such a bigger deal. That's the other thing. I budget so hard, so indie games just make more sense because that's what I can afford.
Yeah. The game I bought was an indie game. I think it was a very short indie game. I think I already beat it too. Oh yeah. Well, Star Tropics though, good pick, very good pick. I would play that remake because I've always been curious about that game too, and I've never played it either, ever.
And it looks like such a neat concept of like taking like Zelda and just going a little bit further with it. I don't know what they do about, because I don't know if you know, there's it's one of those games that you actually, if you're gonna play physically, you either are gonna have to go through a guide or you would need the full physical copy with everything in it. Because in that game there was a piece of paper, much like how Metal Gear Solid had the code on the back of its box.
Yeah.
Star Tropics has this piece of paper that if you actually get it wet, there's a secret code on it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that does that too. So I don't know. I assume they just have to make something up randomly for it, or like a QR code thing, or like
I was going to say it's going to be a QR code.
There would be some weird thing they would have to do with it, but like.
Yeah, it's QR code for sure. Just like that game, indie game Fez, where there was a QR code within the game and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So good. Well, for my second game, this is definitely one as a Disney fan, the Disney World shirt currently as we speak. It's the only old like Disney game that was so good that hasn't been remade, because DuckTales got a in like 2014 or 2015.
See, now that I'm thinking DuckTales, I don't know which game you're thinking about now.
Castle of Illusion got a remake as well around the same time. I want the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers game. There was one on
Right.
NES, and it was really good. I remember playing it and thinking like, "Damn, this is a really, really good game." There's a couple others. I think there was like Tailspin and stuff back from then as well. But I do
Yeah,
really remember this
was
Chip and
Goof
Dale's game.
Trip NES or Super Nintendo? I think that
Super.
one might have been
That's
Super Nintendo.
yeah. That's Super Nintendo. Yeah. Yeah, but Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers was just like a really good two-player platformer. And like I don't need like, like full 3D crazy graphics or anything. Because the DuckTales game went from just the pixel art to more like a hand-drawn kind of like animation style, which was cool. I'd be fine with them doing like a pixel art or hand-drawn style looking game. I think it would kind of ruin it if it went way too over the top with graphics. I think more that classic look and feel would benefit a lot. But yeah, just to have that kind of re-released and everything would be awesome.
Yeah.
Or remade.
So I'm gonna pull out the big card.
Oh, here we go.
Now, a lot of these games need to be remade because they were not designed with friendliness to the player involved back in the day. But I have to only pick one. And there's a lot of Mega Man games on the NES.
Yeah.
And I recently tried
ridiculous.
playing it like over the weekend and I hated it. I had fun, but I hated it. But I want Mega Man 2 to get made properly. I want it to be made in the graphical style of the X games. I want it to be made with the movement of the X games. And I want all the bullshit taken out.
Yeah,
Because
there's a lot of bullshit.
There's a lot of unnecessary bullshit. What stage did I get stuck at and I just gave up on? Was it Bubble Man stage? I think it was Bubble Man stage that I just was like, fuck this. Nope. I'm not in for this. Because I played a little bit. I got through Metal Man and Airman stage. I know I got through those two. And then I hit a stage and I'm just like, this isn't like I'm bad at games, because I am bad at games. This is no, fuck you. That's what that level is. It's like, no. You're gonna lose this now. I'm like, but no, I don't want to. So if I had to pick like any big game, like in my opinion, aside from like you said, Mario 2, there's no reason to remake the other main Mario games.
No.
There's no reason to remake the OG Legend of Zelda, to me.
No.
So like that's why I picked more of the either things that could use a redemption, games that just not very many people have played. And in the case of Mega Man 2, this is a game that needs to be redone because these games are not fun to play if you go back into the history of it. They are not great.
Yeah, I know exactly
They're
what
great
you're
to
talking
watch when people speedrun it. I would not suggest playing those games now. They are fucking unfun.
Yeah, they're hard. I have all of the Mega Man Anniversary collections that came out for the original, like 1 through 10, and X. I didn't get both for X because X 4 to 6 I don't really care about. It's just 1 to 3
No one
that I
really
really
cared
enjoyed.
about the PlayStation ones.
No. So I don't have the second one for X, but I do have basically Mega Man 1 to 10 and Mega Man X 1 to 3. And I played through and I beat X1 on that collection on Steam, many years ago. And I tried Mega Man 2 because that was one I loved as a kid, and it was so fucking hard. Like it was so ridiculously hard, and I was very frustrated. And the crazy part
it's
is
in that age of like intentionally like arcade hard because we have a game that's like 4 hours of your time, but we have to turn it into 5,000 because you're never gonna beat it as a kid.
Yeah, and shout out to my friend Brent because ever in case he listens to this episode, him and I beat Mega Man 2 when we were kids. And it was a weekend. And I remember it vividly because we had to constantly put in that crazy 16 character code. Because every time you were going to a new level or you died or something, it gave you that
you have
on the screen.
thing.
That password, but you had to quickly write the fucking thing down on paper. It's not like you could screenshot it, and it's not like it made sense. There was no saving. It was
there was no Polaroid
A3J1.
screenshotting. That shit was expensive back in the day.
Yeah, so it was just quick, scribble it down, and you better be able to read your writing, because if you put something that could be an A or an 8 and you get it wrong, you're fucked. But yeah, we went through and we played and we did what we needed to do to beat that game, and we did. And I still have very vivid memories of sitting there and the stress I was feeling fighting that like dragon that's near the end of the game
Yep.
and stuff, and you're like hopping on platforms that are disappearing as you're going. Like it's a mid-air fight basically with a dead pit, like an instant death pit beneath you, fighting a fucking dragon. Like, what the hell, Mega Man? Why? Like, I can't believe I did that as a kid. There's no way I would have reached that now. And if there was no story mode or like I couldn't save state the hell out of that, there's no way. There's just no way I'd never do it. No. So yeah, I like what you're talking here. I like what you're saying. This is
remake
let's
Mega
remake
Man
it.
2 without the bullshit.
Yeah, no more bullshit. Get rid of the instant pit death, or at least just like make you like auto save at certain point or something. Like even just an auto save, I'm back in. Holy fuck. Well, oddly enough, the one I'm going to talk about is almost along the same idea as what you're saying. First of all, I'm going to throw this one out there. This isn't my pick. This is just one I have to say. The original Final Fantasy, I understand it got a remake. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's technically already been done.
Stranger of Paradise isn't even close to the same fucking game. I have no idea what the hell that is.
I was more talking about the Pixel remaster, but you do you.
Oh, the Pixel remaster. Yes, fine. I'll give that. That's the better of the remakes, sure. But like if they were gonna remake a Final Fantasy, that one does deserve it. And like, holy fuck, don't do Strangers of Paradise or whatever. Just actually
but also
remake
Final Fantasy the OG, and also get rid of the bullshit.
Yeah, also get rid of the bullshit. Oh yeah, that came out a lot of bullshit. Pixel remaster fully fixes all the bullshit. Thank goodness. But my actual third pick, and which kind of ties into the Mega Man 2, is the original Ninja Turtles game, because that is filled only
the
with
arcade
bullshit.
Game or the
No, the one before that arcade game was like Ninja Turtles 2. And they've
is it the
remade
one where you like
already.
walk around the overworld and then it turns to like a side scroller?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And there's
that one has a
whole
lot
bunch
of bullshit.
There's a lot of bullshit. There's like one part where you're on the second floor of a platform and there's a small hole. And if you try and jump over the hole, you just fall because you hit the roof and fall down. You hit the ceiling, sorry, and fall down. And it turns out you just need to walk over the hole, which goes against all the other levels concepts.
Yeah,
which
it's like that one bit in Mario, like the OG Mario, where like if you just sprint, you just go over it.
Yeah, which everybody's trying to jump these tiny holes, and it's like, yeah, just run, and apparently you're fine. So yeah, they did that bullshit. Then all of a sudden, there's this underwater level where there's these bombs that are going to go off, and there's a time limit to get them. But the entire lining of the underwater is like, I don't know, electric coral or something, because that's in New York, I guess. I have no idea what the hell it was supposed to be. But as you're trying to get to these bombs, like you get 3 hits and you're dead, and it's so impossible that almost everybody who played this game stopped at that point. They got to the underwater bomb part and they were like, I am done. Goodbye. Fuck that shit. That makes no sense. And it's just way too hard. Great concept. It has like an overworld and stuff like that. It's it's like open world Ninja Turtles before Grand Theft Auto made it cool, I guess. But yeah, way too hard, way too much bullshit, and it's just gotta go away. So remake that game. I would be all in on that. I would love that.
Yeah, that's definitely it's definitely another one of those games that I'm like, I'd love to play, because I've also been eyeing the Cowabunga collection, but there's the part of my brain that goes, but I don't want to play a lot of these games anymore.
No, I have the collection. I bought it for myself for my birthday. It was the first thing I bought myself for my Steam Deck when I got it. So I'm like, this is the perfect way to break this bad boy in. Some of the games are just like, oh my god, peak gaming time. Like the arcade game, Ninja Turtles 2 and stuff like we were talking about. And then some of them, it's like, what the fuck is this bullshit? This is ridiculous. No, I'm angry. I'm not playing this one.
So that brings us to the end of our first one. Now, Chris, I'm going to ask you this because I don't have any experience with this console. Do we just skip the Sega Master System? Because that is in the same generation. I never played anything on that console.
There's only one game I played on it, and I would want a remake of it. They did re-release it, and I guess it's remade, so I guess it counts, but it's the original Phantasy Star. The very original was a Master System game, which is why it's a lot harder to even find, because it never even got re-released on the Genesis. It was also remade a couple times. I think it was remade on like Sega Saturn, or I don't know, one of those ones. I played through that on my Switch. They brought it back out, but did quality of life improvements. So they left the graphics the same, but put like an overworld map and all this other stuff, so you actually knew where you were, and the ability to save easier and stuff like that. So it was kind of just a re-release with quality of life improvements. That's the only game I'd give it to, and honestly, I think it kind of already has the better version out now available on the Nintendo Switch anyways. So
Yeah, I think there's a scenario that we could make with, say, the not the third generation, which I'm just looking at it now, was like the NES, the Master System, and like a couple of Atari consoles. I think with the fourth generation, we could make a case of, well, Super Nintendo and Genesis, and then you could maybe do like a third video that's like amalgamating some of all the other stuff that might have been, because like TurboGrafx exists. You could also go into like the Sega CD and Neo Geo like stuff in the 32X.
yeah,
So, like, you could make a case of like, could you pull 3 out of that? That's something we could figure out in the future. And then in the 5th generation, there is like the PlayStation N64, but there's also the Sega Saturn, which is a little interesting. So like, there's some leeway with those. I mean, obviously anything after that, like 6th generation's easy. That's Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox. Fucking easy. And then after that, it's even easier because Sega's not even involved. So
yeah, Sega's like, yeah, no, man, we can't do this.
Because, like, honestly, at this point, I don't intend to do the 8th generation. I don't think that the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, or I guess really the Switch, technically, need anything remade. Remastered, maybe, but not remade. We don't need more Last of Us. You're fine.
The Last of Us Part 2.
I think the 7th, which is, you know, the 360, PS3, and the Wii, I think you could make cases for those.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll end.
I don't think we're there.
No, that's a video for 10 years from now.
That gives us potentially, if I just do the quick math here, at the very least, like 10 or 11, maybe 12, maybe a couple more if we add like the remnants of some of the 4th and 5th generations. It's like, we could do another like 10 plus, like 10 to 12. That's not bad.
Oh, 100%. Easily.
And then good, because we can use that, because 12 weeks of content sounds fucking fantastic, doesn't it?
And we have an idea for 2035 when we do actually think what PS4 and Xbox One game needs to be remastered or remade, because it's so old
I'm
now.
trying to even think like if there's something off the top of my head. Because like, I mean, PS3, I could still go Persona 5 because that technically released on PS3s. It's like, hey, there's my get out of jail free card for putting a Persona game in there. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get there. That's obviously, I mean, at this point, a couple of months away. So, and that also depends if we don't have anything else we want to do. Because obviously, like, you know, I'm sure we'll probably just talk about the state of play on the main show, but who knows? Maybe we use the Sidequest for that. Not to mention, like, we could get random ideas that we go, oh, wouldn't this be a cool topic? Like, we're not just going to go straight down the list of 12 straight weeks of the same thing. So, yeah, it's something fun to pop in there once in a while.
100%. I love it. I love this idea. And I love how we each chose 3 games, and both of us picked a game where we were like, we need this remade because it's bullshit. And then we also we both picked one where it's like,
it's not going to happen nearly as often in the next generations. It's really like, it starts to cool off a little bit once we get into the next generation.
Yeah. But we both had a bullshit game and a game where it's like, this just deserves another chance. And it's like Mario 2 and Zelda 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about the 2s, man, back in those days.
Yeah. They were the middle child of games.
Shame. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Obviously, here on YouTube, like and subscribe. Again, I don't know if it might actually be 250 by the time this video comes out, but hey, if it's still 249 by the time this comes out and you aren't subscribed, we need that 250. We want to do that cereal episode. And if you're asking, why do you want these schmucks talking about cereal? I mean, you're already here listening to us talk. Why the hell wouldn't you want us to talk about cereal for a full hour? That sounds like a great time.
Everybody loves cereal, and if you're listening to this, you're probably in a similar age gap as us where you spent Saturdays eating cereal, either playing video games or watching awesome cartoons.
You absolutely want to talk about Count Chocula. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Like, we all want to have this conversation. Just let us subscribe. Press the button, please.
All right, folks. Well, otherwise, obviously, you see the link tree at the bottom of your screen there where the link to our Discord is. Like I said at the top of Wednesday, or the end of Wednesday's episode, I'm going to start putting in a thread in the Discord channel to if you want to suggest questions for the main show for us to do at the end. So, obviously, if you want something, whether it's serious or not, if you want to put something funny in there for us to answer to, we'll do it. As long as it's something we can put on air, we'll do it. I don't give a shit. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for checking us out. Take care. Bye bye for now.